I am Audrey, and welcome to my channel, The Backstory and More. On this channel, you will find out what happened before each Sunday school lesson begins. To the viewers and subscribers, thank you for returning and viewing my channel as it continues to grow. The Sunday school lesson for September the 4th, 2022 is entitled The Call of Abram, based on Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 5, verse 7, and chapter 15, verses 1 through 7. The question I will answer is, what visual reminder helped Abram comprehend the scope of his offspring? Here is the standard agenda. I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, offer a brief summary, and then offer a brief reminder to subscribe. The backstory. Let's begin. A look at a few chapters from Genesis. Chapters 1 through 3 convey the creation and the fall. Acts of violence are recounted in chapter 4, verses 2 through 12. Wickedness is the focus in Genesis chapter 6, verses 5 through 6 and verses 11 through 12. The judgment and rescue are emphasized in Genesis chapter 6, verse 7 through chapter 9, verse 17. After the flood, a list of the descendants of Noah's son Shem is provided. His descendants culminate with Terah, father of Abram, Nahor, and Haram. Terah, the father, outlived his son Haram, Lot's father. The two remaining sons were Abram and Nahor. Abram was married to Sarah, who happens to be barren. The journey. Abram's family lived in Ur of the Chaldeans, located on the banks of the Euphrates River. Ur is indicated in yellow. According to Joshua chapter 24, verse 2, at one time the family took part in the city's pagan religious practices. Then Terah led Abram, Sarah, and Lot toward Canaan, as indicated with a green line. But Terah did not complete the journey. He settled and died in Haram, indicated in purple. Today's scripture text continues to highlight Abram's family. Later in Genesis chapter 17, verse 5, the Lord changed Abram's name to Abraham. The call of Abram. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 5 and verse 7. Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 through 7. Key text. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord, who had appeared to him. Genesis chapter 12, verse 7. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 5 and verse 7. Verse 1. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." Verse 2. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Verse 3. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Verse 4. So Abram went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. Verse 5. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Verse 7. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, to your offspring I will give this land. So he built an altar there to the Lord, who had appeared to him. Genesis chapter 15, verses 1 through 7. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward. Verse 2. But Abram said, Sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus? Verse 3. And Abram said, you have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. Verse 4. Then the word of the Lord came to him. This man will not be your heir, but a son who is your own flesh and blood will be your heir. Verse 5, he took him outside and said, look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, so shall your offspring be. Verse 6, Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Verse 7, he also said to him, I am the Lord, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it. A brief summary. Though the flood brought a necessary end to a dreadful past, God's chosen strategy to redeem the world and deal with human sin once and for all began with an ordinary man named Abram, whose name was later changed to Abraham. Abram's journey first began when he and his family left Ur. God now required Abram to step out on faith and to leave and go to a far-off country, Canaan. Abraham left his father's household behind, including not only his aging father, but other close relatives as well. Abram also learned to trust in God's promises. God said he will make Abram become the father of a great nation. God will bless him and make Abram's name great, and assured him that he will be a blessing. Wherever Abram's descendants would go, God would look after them and respond to those who treat them well with his blessing, and those who treat them poorly with his curse. In this way, God blessed one family so that they may be the instrument of blessing to all peoples on earth. Having heard God's call, Abram obeyed and left Haran when he was 75. Abram's life to this point included the death of a brother, the reality of having a barren wife, and leaving behind everything familiar without knowing his ultimate destination. Now, God showed him the uncountable stars of the ancient night sky. This visual reminder helped Abram comprehend the massive scope of the future God had planned for him. In response, he believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Here is the question. What visual reminder helped Abram comprehend the scope of his offspring? Answer. He took him outside and said, look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, so shall your offspring be. Genesis chapter 15, verse 5. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and join me soon for the next backstory.